Hey guys, welcome to Sketch Today. I'm Spencer. I'm an industrial designer. I've been doing this for a long time now, over a decade, and what I mean by this is drawing, designing, and making stuff. So if this is your first time here, I want you to hit that subscribe button and turn on alerts because we go live 3 times a week. In fact, if you're watching this, and it is Wednesday, we'll be going live later today at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, so watch out for that alert. Tap the bell, make sure you don't miss that. You can also come find me on the socials at sketchaday.com on Instagram, or visit me on Twitter at Daily Sketches. Got a little mixed up there. So today I'm sharing with you a demo I recorded a while back, and it's very technical in Illustrator. I recorded this when I was teaching a class, design class, on basic visual communication. And I do believe that to draw correctly, you have to understand kind of the mechanics behind how things work and why they work that way. So buckle up, sit down, and hopefully you enjoy this very long and very technical demo about 1 and 2 point perspective. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'm sure I've even made mistakes along the way, so if you have any corrections or thoughts, feel free to share those below. But as always, have fun. If you need ideas on materials, you can use the links in the video description to check those out. So I hope you guys enjoy, and we'll see you next time right here on Sketch Day. Okay, let's do a 2 point. So we'll start another layer, construction, and final 2 point cube. So 2 point perspective is a little different. I'm still gonna start with a nice horizon line, like so, and I'm gonna draw on my artboard, but for my purposes here, I'm gonna go ahead and hide that. So the first thing you do, draw your horizon line, and then I'm gonna pick 2 points on this line. I'm using my line tool and clicking Alt while holding Shift. I'm dragging up to give me these 2 vertical lines. And so what I have here is I have a left vanishing point, and I have a right vanishing point. Okay, so with these 2 points, I need to do a few things before I can get started. One is I need to find the center of this space between the left and right vanishing point. So I can do that in a couple ways. One is I can take a line starting right here where it says intersect, holding Shift and dragging down. That'll give me a 45-degree line from that point. I do the same thing on the left. Double check here, I'm drawing from that central point. And now where these 2 lines intersect, if I draw up, that's going to be the center of the distance between those 2 points. There are a few ways, however, in Illustrator you can cheat. For example, I could shorten this line like so to touch on those 2 points. Select that line right where it says width. If I type /2, it'll give me a line that's half as long as the original line. So many ways to do the same thing. As long as you get to the same point, I don't really care how. Okay, so the next step is from the central point, I'm going to hold Alt and click and hold Shift. This is going to give me a circle that will, or should rather, pass through my left and right vanishing points and this point at the bottom of my drawing. Great, so now I've got that. Okay, so the next step is I'm going to pick, let's go ahead and hide these on a new layer. So if you want to drag something to a layer, just remember, click the layer the object is on and highlight the object. You'll see a colored square pair. You can click that colored square and drag it to the layer you want it to be on. So now I can hide that stuff. So going back to my construction layer here, I'm going to pick a point anywhere within this circle. Okay, generally speaking, there's a cone of vision of 60 degrees. So if I want something to seem fairly well adjusted and seem normal, I'm looking at probably a viewing angle of something like that. So that's typically where I'd want my cube to be. But because we're designers and we're going to be sketching somewhat interesting perspective views, we're going to kind of push outside of that just a little bit. But we're not going to push outside this circle because that's where real distortion will happen. So picking anywhere here, I'm just going to draw a line straight up from the point rather where I started. I'm going to draw a line to my right vanishing point and to my left vanishing point. Okay, and here's where it gets a little tricky. So picking either of these two lines, I'm going to rotate this line about this point. So with my rotation tool selected, click on the point by your right vanishing point. While holding Alt, click on the opposite point on the end of the line. With Alt selected, it's going to go ahead and copy that line. Now I want this line to rest in a collinear fashion with the horizon line. Let go, and you'll notice that I have a green selection here. And right at this point where it says anchor, I'm going to draw a vertical line. That is my left measuring point. And so with that point, I'm going to be measuring my perspective to get my perfect cube here. I'm going to go ahead and hide this stuff again. So now picking this other line, I can do the same thing, rotate using the point at the left measuring point for my center of rotation. Releasing, while that's selected, draw another vertical line like so. So here I have my left measuring point and I have my right measuring point. Okay, so this line, this vertical line, remember in our 1 point perspective we had a station point. Down at the bottom here, this is my station point. And anywhere along this vertical line I can establish a ground line. So if I'm looking further downward at my cube, my ground line would be lower. If I'm looking underneath my cube, my ground line would be higher. So I'm going to pick somewhere here for our purposes and just drag that across. There's my ground line. Now I can decide whatever height I want for my cube. So let's say I have a cube about so high. I'm just going to beef this line up so you can see that front edge of my cube. To measure, let's draw the lines that go back to the vanishing points first from the top and bottom of this line. Like so. Now it's time to measure. So using my ellipse tool or circle tool, clicking at the bottom of the line, holding Alt and Shift, dragging to the top, a little bit over to the right or left, I now have a circle where this circle intersects my ground line. So my ground line. Right where this intersection happens, I'm going to draw a line over to the left measuring point, and on the opposite side I'm going to draw a line to my right measuring point. So right where these two intersections happen, I'm going to draw two big circles so you can see. Those 2 points from here to the bottom of that first line, that describes the length, the foreshortened length rather, of the cube in perspective. Now, all I need to do, because this is 2 point perspective, is draw a vertical line such that it intersects with my vanishing lines like so, and another line on the opposite side. Where the intersection happens, I can now draw a line back into perspective like so, and like so to my right vanishing point. Okay, this is my construction layer, so I can lock this. On my final 2 point layer, I can now construct the outline the outline of my final cube, adjust the stroke weight, and I can also fill in on these front edges, like so, with lines of a lesser line weight that show those front edges. So there's my measured perspective cube. Now the measurement we took here was arbitrary. If I draw a line from left to right and I look in this box up top, you'll see that the measurement reads 53 millimeters. That's roughly 2 inches. If I go into my preferences in Illustrator by hitting File, I think it's File Preferences. I use the keyboard shortcut, Control K. Oh, actually that's what it is. On the Mac it's a little different. In any case, Control K or Command K. You'll see that there's a units dialog here as an option. I can change this to inches or points or pixels, whatever. So there you go, 2.1065 inches. So if I wanted to do a 4-inch cube, I would measure 4 inches along my ground line and then draw back to my left measuring point and my right measuring point. And that would give me a measured perspective cube in 2-point perspective. So what do we do when we want to multiply this cube? You should remember from your sketch class how to do this. But if I have a box, or square rather, I can discern a few interesting things by dividing this square into 4 equal parts. So by drawing 2 lines that bisect the square on the longitudinal latitudinal axes, and then drawing a line from top corner through this point on the right side. I'm just going to stop here because Illustrator has a neat little trick. So once I have this diagonal line, if I switch to my if I switch to my select tool, which is the solid black arrow, I can pick this line, hold shift, and drag it down, okay, extending it through. So now, if I extend this baseline over, if I were to draw another rectangle, you'll notice that the bottom corner of this rectangle intersects right at that point where I've extended that line through. Of course, in Illustrator, you can always pick a shape, just drag it over to the left or right, and it duplicates it. But in perspective, it's a little more challenging. So what I actually have to do here is first find the center of this face. Okay, there's a couple ways to do this. I'm going to do it my way. So from corner to corner, and then draw a line through that point where those diagonals intersect. I've now found the halfway point on my cube. I could, of course, measure 1 inch over and then draw back toward my left vanishing point, and that would give me the halfway point of that face, but this is a quick way to do it. And then from the center of that intersection, draw over. So now what I need to do is from the upper left corner to this point where I've bisected that right vertical edge, draw a line. Then with my selection tool, hold shift, click on that lower corner and drag over. And this will give me the length of the subsequent face if I were multiplying this cube, because I can just draw over like so, and now I have 1, 2 boxes. Okay, if I were to extend this line out, for example, this would be another 2 inches out. So that's another way to do it. Oh, actually, sorry, my bad. This is not a way to do it. Ignore that. What I could do is on the measuring line, draw 2 inches out, then over to the left measuring point. Okay, so just ignore that. Okay, so to get the next box in the series, I would draw a line to that point, hold shift, and I can do this all day. And if I want to get another one to that point, shift, drag down. Okay, so this would give me several boxes that are all cubes multiplied along this baseline. So what if I want to go vertically, multiply vertically? I can, on this first cube, draw a line to this point where I've bisected that upper edge, and then extend that out and draw a line that is vertical, like so. And then I should have gone the other direction, but we'll work with this. Drag this over to my right vanishing point, and I'm going to extend this line over, draw another line straight up, and now I have that vertical face. Okay, pretty cool. So that's how I would multiply a cube. So we've gone from 1 point perspective measured to 2 point perspective measured to 2 point perspective measured, and multiplying our cubes.